Hi everyone. Good Tuesday evening to you. I know I'm going live early. We're not going to discuss anything important until 6, of course. But I figured I'd go ahead and get on here and say hi to everyone. I see Jan and Melina and Katie already in the chat. Thank you all for being here. I greatly appreciate it. We are still on Thanksgiving week, so Thanksgiving is still up. This is actually, it is Christmas, but it is hiding something you can't see. And I don't have a spare Thanksgiving Day something to hide it with. Okay, so, yeah, so welcome. Glad you guys are here. I did put a question in the chat, pinned to the top, so if you want to answer that, feel free to. Just kind of an icebreaker tonight, getting everybody in the chat tonight. It's one of my little card things, and figured I'd ask, see what kind of answers we get. I think the most unusual thing I've ever found in my fridge has probably been cat toys. Back when I had cats, I had this one that every time I opened the fridge door, she was like playing with toys to knock into the fridge. And it wasn't just under the fridge, it was actually in the fridge. I don't know how she did it. Melina had a good answer that hers was her granddaughter's brush. Jane says she hadn't found anything unusual in there. She knows what she puts in there. Now I do find things, probably a few too many days past their time, but that happens to all of us at one point or another. So I see we've got 8 people in the chat tonight, so thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. So we are going to continue tonight with what we were working on last week. We started trying to figure out what to do with this. If you guys see the block with the black center, that is one of the original blocks. This is the one with the white center. I did the white center today, and that is replacing the one with the black center that is going to have to be ripped apart anyway. So if you see, they're actually mirror images of each other. I know it's kind of far back there, but they are mirror images. So we're going to work on some white ones tonight, see if we can get to the black ones. If you guys have never seen partial seams, if you've never done partial seams, that's what we're going to be working on tonight. So I'm going to bring you guys over, and we're just going to chat. We're just going to have a good night chatting, talking about everything that's going on. Talking about Thanksgiving for those of you who are in the U.S. We got to talk about Thanksgiving, right? It is that time of year. We have to talk about food. All right. So I'm going to show you guys as I'm getting ready to do just this first one. So I had my block laid out here. And so I've got the white square that's going to go in the center. And then this piece is going to go up against it, but you see that the white piece isn't long enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew about half the distance of the white. So we're going to sew from here to this end up here where we've got them matched. And all my seams are going to press to make the white a solid square. So they're all going to press towards the outside pieces. Jean says she's making her pies tonight. Ooh, what kind of pies are you making? I made 2 pumpkin pies today. One is for Thanksgiving, and then one is to have later on because I had enough pumpkin to do 2 pies plus having some left over for the dog to have a treat of some pumpkin. So we're going to have some pumpkin pie. I started roasting pumpkins this past weekend. Welcome in, Katie from Greenland Quilter. Welcome. Glad you are here, sweetie. So for those of you who do not know, Katie extended an invitation Ooh, Jean, oh my gosh. She says she's making pumpkin, pecan, and lemon meringue. I love me some pecan pie. We decided that pecan pie was too much last year for some reason. And I think it was just because we wanted something different than just the plain pecan pie. So my recipe from last year is actually pecan pie brownies. Welcome in, Laura. Katie, thank you. She says, y'all hit that thumbs up like button. I appreciate it, Katie. Thank you so much. So for those of you who do not know, I will be live on Thursday, which is Thanksgiving Day here in the United States. I will be live at 6 p.m. my time. Ooh, Melina, you are my husband's best friend. She says that she made apple pie today. I am not a huge apple pie person. So, I mean, I can make apple pie, but I don't eat apple pie all that much. I don't eat cherry pie. I don't eat... Like, it's not my thing. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just not my flavor. It's not my taste buds, I guess. The cherry pie that my husband bought recently was incredibly sweet. Very, very sweet. So, it's just not my thing. Alright, so while I'm talking to you guys, so I've got this partially seamed. So you guys see, Melina says, me either. I like pumpkin. Yeah, I like pumpkin pie. And the only thing that was purchased this year was the pie crust. And I know in previous years I have said never again. And I'm saying it again this year, never again will I do the store-bought crust. It just does not, I don't know, it didn't want to roll out the way that I wanted it to, and it was being a pain. So next year I will probably plan better, and I'll make my pie crust probably a week in advance, like my pie crust dough a week in advance, so that I already have it, because I'm just not happy with it. Let's see, Melina says she made the apple pie for her husband. Awesome. Jean says she loves other fruits. She says apples don't like my innards for some reason. Oh, yeah, I understand that. Welcome in, Pam. Glad you made it. Glad you are here. Yeah, I'm okay eating apples. I think between apples and cherries, apples tend to be less overly sweet. And my stomach does not like really, really sweet things. So, cherry and all these others, I like the flavor, but I hate how sweet they are. I mean, my husband fixed me a slice half the size of what he was fixing himself, which is, you know, about accurate. And I still couldn't even eat the whole slice of what he fixed. It was way too much. Susan says, apple pie is the only pie I like. Welcome in, Susan. Glad you are here. Welcome in, Donnell. She says, hey, Tammy and everyone in the chat. And for those of you who are dropping in now, don't forget to read the pinned message and answer the question. We are looking for who has found the most unusual thing in their fridge. We've got a granddaughter's hairbrush. And mine was cat toys. It's been a really long time since I found the cat toys. I have found car keys in the fridge before, so that's happened too. Definitely found expired food. You know, that happens to everybody eventually. Unless you have just one of those tiny little fridges and it never goes out or anything like that. Pam says that her favorite pie is not my favorite pie, not many know or like. Egg custard. Ooh, I have not had it, but I would be willing to try it. I may have to look up a recipe. That may go on our Christmas list. Thank you, Pam. I am the one who experiments with baking things. Like, I can bake whatever it is. But I don't cook, but I bake. Now, I will be cooking the mashed potatoes on Thursday, but that's the only... Welcome in, Jess! That's the only cooking I will have for Thursday. All the rest of mine will be done tonight. My cornbread is already done. so that I can put it in the cornbread dressing. And as soon as the cornbread dressing is done, I am done until Thursday. Welcome in, Linda. Thank you for being here. Let's see. That sounds good, Pam. I've never made one before, says Jean. Right? Susan says, I found my grandmother's handkerchief in our freezer when I was a kid. Oh, now that's unique. The egg custard is not super sweet. Okay, awesome. I didn't think it would be. Jean says that she's busy, Donnell. She's getting the dining room set up for Thursday. Oh, my gosh. Y'all, my husband is already chomping at the bit so that once my live is over, Thursday night, all this harvest is coming down and Christmas is going up. He has already looked in here. He's already asked me. And you know what? I'll ask you guys. Jean says she's going to make the pies tonight. Yep, I've already made the 2 pumpkin pies because I knew I was going to need the oven for the cornbread dressing. And last year I had problems getting my cornbread dressing to set. It's high altitude, so making the high altitude adjustments is a little more difficult when you're using, what is it, the equivalent of a family recipe. It's not a family recipe. It is now because it's mine, but it's the equivalent of a family recipe. So it's been a while since I had any problems with it, and I had problems with it last year. So I knew I couldn't start it now because I'd be checking it all the time. So as soon as the live is over tonight, I'll be back in the kitchen making cornbread dressing. Laura says that she once set her cell phone down on the shelf in her garage fridge while she was grabbing things and then couldn't find it. Fortunately, I had my watch on and was eventually able to find it, right? Pam says that she has to be packing tonight, going to her friends about 2 hours from here, leaving from work at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Awesome! Awesome. Yeah, we don't have anybody planned to come over tomorrow or for Thursday. I know, right, Jean? She says, ooh, have fun, Pam. Yes, exactly. Please have fun for all of us. We do not have anybody coming over this year. We did last year, and that's how Kennedy was able to tell you guys that my husband cooks for an army. He was in the Marine Corps, but he cooks for the Army. Yeah. He can feed an army. He knows what he's doing. He does it every year. I mean, what he's already planning to fix is probably going to be more than enough food to feed us for 3 weeks. And he'll be so sick of food. So, I don't know. I don't know. You know, we were supposed to have a very small Thanksgiving, just fix a little bit of turkey and, you know, maybe a couple of regular, like, normal dinner side dishes. That's not what's happening. Not my doing, but it's not what's happening. Oh, we are having a full-on Thanksgiving. But it soothes his heart, soothes his soul. So I'm more than happy to do it. So we now have 1 block done, in addition to the one that's up there already. So we're just going to keep plugging along. I'm going to keep doing the white ones tonight. And see, I don't know if I'm going to get through all 16 of them, but we're going to get through a few. We'll get through a few. I did cut some white squares. This is like Kona Snow, I believe. It feels like Kona, but I don't have any labels on it. But I pulled it out of my stash, and Kona Snow is a fabric I tend to buy. Laura says that they're going to her daughter's for Thanksgiving. It'll be the first time in 34 years that we haven't hosted. Oh my goodness. She says that they've hosted every holiday since they got married. That's crazy. That's so crazy. I don't think I could imagine hosting every holiday for that many years. I don't think I could imagine. Okay, so we are looking at colors because I don't want all of these blocks to be the same, but I don't want them to be just absolutely oppressive. Kathy says, oh, missing you. I will be home soon. Oh, you're fine, Kathy. You are fine. We're going to be on here for about an hour. We're not going to overdo it tonight. We got Thursday to go. I'm looking through all these prints and I don't know. Ooh, there's one that's, no, I got some of that in there already. I guess I'm just going to have to go with this other one that I was, oh, there we go. There's one that isn't in there already. All right, so there we go. There's my 4. And all I am doing is I'm just trying to make sure that none of these outside prints are the same thing. And if I get done and I end up with a couple that are matchy by the time I'm done, oh well. If I want to rip it, I will. But I'm not too awfully worried about it. So what I do first is I'm lining up my 3.5 inch square that I cut with the cut edge where the short edge is, because that's where the way this block is lining up. And I am stitching just halfway down. Okay, so the other half is left open. So if you guys have not done partial seaming, that is what a partial seaming is. And I'll show you guys when I get to the other end. Like when I get all the way around this square, I will show you what it looks like at the other end. Like what we're doing at the last. Because I really didn't show you guys. Like I didn't take an extra step out and show you. But I will this time. Like it's in my memory to do it this time. Laura says that her sister doesn't like to host. She told me it gives her anxiety and panic attacks, so we've always done it. That makes sense. It's a lot to host. Susan says that she brought her laptop into where she sews. That way she can watch and work on Christmas gifts at her Juki. Perfect. I like that plan. Jean says, I only have an aunt and a few cousins nearby, so we always meet at my house the last 10 years. We're all making something, so I'm not doing it all. Perfect plan. So I'm not doing it all either. I don't. There's no way I could. What am I thinking? I'm going to make sure I'm doing that right. Am I going in the right direction? We're going to make sure I'm going in the right direction. Okay, hang on. That one goes up there. There we go. Let's grab this one next. I'm going the wrong direction, guys. It happens. All right, so now that I've got this seam here, what you're basically doing is you're building this kind of like a log cabin. You're going to build the next available edge where you're covering your last seam. And you can sew with this up or with this side up, whichever one works for you. And that's entirely up to you and the pieces that you're working on. Awesome. Yeah, so all I am doing is I've done the pumpkin pies, or the pumpkin pie, because we're only going to eat one this year, or this Thanksgiving. I did the pumpkin pie, I'll do the cornbread dressing, and I will do the mashed potatoes on Thanksgiving Day. I don't eat green bean casserole, so my husband has to fix it for himself. And I've never done the deviled eggs, so he's going to do those. And I've never cooked a turkey, so he does that. And he also wants sweet potato casserole, so he'll be fixing that as well. So yeah, he does a lot. He really does. But, you know, he enjoys that. I don't enjoy it. Laura says, I'm going to go help my daughter set up and cook. We usually have about 24 or so, depending on work schedules. Wow. That's a big crowd. That's a big crowd. I do great when I can cook or when I can prep things in advance. If I can't prep in advance, forget it. I can't do it. Like if I had to cook my cornbread dressing the day of Thanksgiving, it would probably never get done. And I would be so panicked and anxious and worried and all of the not good things to be at a holiday. So I do everything that I can in advance. So like the mashed potatoes won't keep very well. I technically could do them early. There is a way to do it. Welcome in, William. There's a question you need to answer, sir. Look at the pinned message. Jean says, I know the feeling, Laura. Lots of people stress me, but I just keep telling myself it is only a few hours. That is true. It is only a few hours. And then it's like another 8 or 10 cleaning up afterwards. I do better if I can use the dishwasher. Like if I don't have to hand wash. If I have to hand wash, forget it, you guys. There is no way I am hosting Thanksgiving at my house if I have to hand wash all the dishes afterwards. Like, that is beyond stressful. My china that I've had for years, I finally found a good home for it. The problem with it is it wouldn't go. Oh my gosh, Donnell. I would have to hand wash it because it could not go in the dishwasher because it had metal in it. So no. I was not going to use the fancy china. Oh my gosh. So you guys, if you can't see Donnell's comment, she said she found her husband's wallet in the fridge. That's crazy. I mean, I've left my keys in the fridge. That was mine. I did it. But it only happened once, and it happened in college. And to be fair, it also happened about the same time that I was sleepwalking and answering the phone. Oh my goodness. Jean says, the cleaning doesn't bother me. I just wait for everyone to leave and then do it at my own pace. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Katie. She says she's given a reminder for everyone to hit that thumbs up like button. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, my iron is leaking, guys. Maybe I needed to put an iron on my wish list. My Oliso has seen better days. In case you guys wonder when I tell you my Oliso has seen better days, welcome in, Shelby. And no, I'm not going to burn myself, I promise. So it barely says the iTouch anymore, but it still has the text. But it doesn't say Oliso Pro anymore. It does on the other side. So I just burnt myself there. But so this side is fine, but this side is like completely worn away. And my Steam button does not have a Steam icon either. Laura says, Jean, years ago I decided paper plates are fine. I don't use my china even though I have service for 24. It's not dishwasher safe. Exactly. Melina says, power keeps going off and on, so I'm going to charge my phone in case we lose power, but I can still hear. Awesome. Awesome, Melina. Susan says, my sister-in-law refuses to let me help with the dishes. Yes. Oh my gosh, Katie. Okay, we are going to need a story. We're going to need a story on that. She says that she found something that is illegal in most of the United States. In most states, to possess or resell. She found something illegal to possess or resell in most of the U.S. in her fridge. You guys got to read the comments to see what exactly that was. Okay. I mean, I could say a lot of things. Oh no! Shelby says, take care, Melina. That was last week for me with the power outages. Okay, so I'm going to stop for just a second. Oh, there we go. All right, so we have sewn all 4 of the pieces to the white block. However, we have this one seam left hanging. This is that partial seam that we started earlier and we didn't finish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sewn piece together and fold it out of the way so that I can just take this. There we go. Getting my thread out of the way. So I can take it and get it lined up. And we are just going to pick back up and sew probably about 1 inch of what's already sewn. I know you guys probably can't see my thread because it is white. So my sewing stops here where this thumb is. So we're going to sew starting like right up here. We're going to sew an extra inch and carry it all the way down to the end. So that's how you finish out a partial seam. That is how you finish out a partial seam. Jess says she is boring. She has not found anything unusual in her fridge. Nothing unusual here, she said. All right. I have no lights, guys. Not illegal anymore in many states. That's true, but there are still states where it is illegal. Let's see. Jean says, I don't want anyone helping me either. Not mean, just do things my way and easier by myself. Not to mention, it's not like I have a large kitchen. So here's the funny thing. My husband has a kitchen help wanted sign that is hanging up in the kitchen. So it says help wanted for the kitchen. And so last year when we had guests over, the lady that was over offered to help wash dishes. Do you know he turned her down? He wouldn't let her help. And she's like, you're ignoring your sign. You have a sign up that says help wanted. And now you're not letting me help? Really? Shelby says, lol, Gina. And isn't that where everyone wants to gather? Right, in the kitchen? Absolutely. Laura says, my husband and I have a system. We get up early and we work really well together. Okay, so we do work really well together, but we do better when we can space things out a little bit. My husband's version of helping me is actually clearing off the kitchen table so I have a place to work. Okay, so I have stretched pieces somewhere. So this one's not laying completely flat. And I don't know exactly where I stretched them, but I will figure that out later. So just know, not even me, I don't even get everything right. So you are not alone. It's wonky. It's not going to lay flat. And I could probably starch the daylights out of it to get it to lay flat, but I'm not going to. We'll figure it out later. So he cleared off half of the dining room table because what I do is everything that I can do sitting at the table or sitting works really well for me. So putting the pies together today, I put both of the pie crusts in the pie pans and I put them into par bake, and I normally don't have to do that. That is one thing that you have to do in high altitude, and it is such an adjustment. Oh my gosh, is it ever an adjustment. So I had to par bake the crust. So those were in. And then I had all my ingredients at the kitchen table, had all my measuring spoons, everything I would need to put together 2 pies. And so I could sit at the kitchen table and whisk the egg, like beat the eggs and like add everything that I needed to add. So yeah, I do everything that I can sitting at the kitchen table just because that works really well for me. So his contribution, he had 2 contributions to the pumpkin pies. He cleared the kitchen table, cleared half the table for me, so I have a space to work. And one year, making these pumpkin pies, I use lemon zest in my pie. So if you're allergic to lemon, you can't have my pie unless I know in advance and I leave it out. Okay? So I was zesting the lemon for my pies because I was making, oh my gosh, I think that year I made 7 pies. I mean, it was crazy. But I was zesting the lemons for the pies and managed to zest my fingers as well at the same time. And ever since then, he doesn't let me zest anything. Welcome in, Chloe. Welcome. So every time I need to zest something, he does it for me. I don't have to zest anything because of how badly I zested my fingers one year. And he knows how important my fingers are to my quilting, so he doesn't make me zest anything. So if he knows that I need it done, he'll do it. Then, aside from that, everything else... Oh, the pumpkins. Did you know that the stuff inside the pumpkin, like the pumpkin innards, works like a glue on some people's skin. I didn't know that. Not until a couple of years ago, when I was making all those pumpkin pies and roasting all those pumpkins. I was hurting so bad from all the pumpkin stuff all over my hands that I either would have to wear gloves going forward, or he has to help me. So when I got ready to cut the pumpkins to roast them, I only did one pumpkin this year, but when I got ready to cut the pumpkin and roasted it, awesome, Chloe. She says she just zested an orange for her sweet potato puree. Yeah, he zests everything for me because it was an impressionable moment. My fingers have healed, but it was an impressionable moment. But yeah, so cleaning out the innards of a pumpkin, you know how they show in the Halloween movies, you know, you're getting this jack-o'-lantern ready, you cut the bottom off, or you cut the top off. I cut the bottom off of mine so you can set a candle in and set your pumpkin on top. So if I ever do another, you know, jack-o'-lantern, a real jack-o'-lantern, that's how I'll do it. But, you know, you see all the Halloween movies and they cut the pumpkin open and you're pulling out all the insides so that you can make a jack-o'-lantern. And they never show anybody wearing gloves or having any kind of reaction to pumpkin. My skin apparently loves pumpkin so much that if I reach my hand into pumpkin, it is coated and covered, and it's like super glue, guys. It is like super glue on my skin. It's just crazy. And I don't know if that's what they make the plastic Band-Aids like adhesive out of, but that would totally make sense. It's some strong stuff. Yeah, so he helps me with that. And then he doesn't have to help me with peeling potatoes anymore. I got some of those cut gloves. So accidents. I have kitchen utensil cutting accidents. So I wish none of those on any of you. That would not be cool. You guys do not need to. We need no. This is my prayer for you guys. No ER visits this holiday weekend. Okay? No ER visits. Or if there is an ER visit, we hope that it is for something that is just emergent and not life-threatening. We're going to go that route. Just emergent and not life-threatening. You know, the good memories, you know, the ones that you tell later on, you know, after the fact, because everybody can laugh about them. Those are the ones we're looking for if you have to visit the ER. We hope for no ER visits, but if you must do it, make it something that's, you know, that everybody can smile about, right? That's what we're going for. Oh, so I did go ahead and start working. If you guys do remember, we are doing Fab Farm starting in January. I did go ahead and get started cutting on Fab Farm, and we are doing the horse block first. With that being said, the strawberry sits inside the horse. So I will be putting as much of the block together as we can in January. And then once we do the strawberry block, whenever that is, we'll finish out the horse then. So I don't want you guys to panic because we'll have an unfinished block by the end of January. But we are going to put together the Elizabeth Hartman. Yes. So that's the one that I'm going to do first. So the funny thing is, of course it's tucked away over there, because I just took it and started cutting on it. I've got fabrics 1A and 1B and 2A and 2B already cut. I don't have fabrics 3 or 4 yet cut. And I don't have my background. I do have my background strips for the horse block cut, but I don't have my background cut for it. So when you look at the Elizabeth Hartman Fab Farm pattern, the strawberry block fits in above the horse's back. So you have, like, let's say this is the horse's head and this is the horse's body. The strawberry block goes up here. So I really wish when she had listed it on the front of the pattern, she'd listed strawberry first, so we'd know that that's how we needed to do it. But she didn't. She listed horse first. So we're gonna take it and gallop around the farmyard with it. That's the best way I can say it, because I've looked at it off and on and thought about it. And I just want it to be a simple way to know which ones we're doing in which order. So if you look at the front of the pattern, she lists all the different elements in an order. And horse is the first one she lists. So that's the first one we're going to stitch. So even though you can't fully finish the block until you make the strawberry block, we're still going to stitch the horse first, if that makes sense, because that's the way I said I was going to do it. So I'm going to stick with that, and it will kind of give us a quick completion when we get to strawberry, because we won't have as much to go back and do after we do strawberry. Welcome in, Terry. Glad you made it. Glad you're here. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving in advance to all of you who are here in the U.S. Thanksgiving is in 2 days. Chloe says that she needs to buy background. Awesome. Yeah, mine came with the kit, so it's that gray that's in the picture that I have. And I will say this. I'm not super pleased with the cutting instructions in the pattern. And the reason I'm not pleased with them is when I pick up a pattern, I want the designer to make things as easy as possible, and there's parts of the pattern that are, in my opinion, are very easy to read, but because there's an option for a large quilt and a small quilt, I'm finding myself having to look for where the cutting directions are for the large, and then you've got to flip back and forth. You know, you can't have just one 8.5 by 11 sheet. You've got to have, you know, this page and that page to have all the instructions you need. And so I find that a little distracting. It's not something I can't overcome, but if you are a person who is going to be challenged trying to separate the things out, if you are doing the Fab Farm pattern with me starting in January, just know that if you need help, send me an email, send me a message, let me know you need help, and tell me what you've got figured out and what you don't have figured out. Because if we need to do a Zoom so I can help you figure this out, let me know. I will be more than happy to. Because this is one of those, and I guess this comes from my background doing as much sewing and quilting teaching as I have done in the past. There's so much information on 2 pages that if you get distracted and you look at the wrong section, then you could be cutting the right number of pieces or the wrong number of pieces. And there's so many different flip back and forth kind of things in the pattern, and that's a lot to take in for most people. And I have brain fog with my fibromyalgia, so I cannot try to do this when I'm tired. I have to have as much energy as possible to work on it. Shelby says, that does sound distracting. I made my own kit for her produce stand pattern, but haven't started it yet. So many projects in the queue, right? Right? So what you get, so let's say we're talking about the horse. That's where we're going to start. Welcome in, Judy. Welcome. Glad you're here. So on the page with the horse is all your lettered pieces. So you've got pieces A through Z, plus pieces like just for I'm not looking at it directly, but your background pieces are double letters. So like CC through NN or something like that. Like it's, double letters. My chat disconnected and reconnected. So if I miss somebody, I apologize. I don't know what's going on with the chat. So when you're looking at the horse and it tells you, okay, let's say you need 1 of this piece and you need 4 of this piece, or you need 2 of this piece. They are talking about for 1 block. So if you sit there and look, okay, for piece M, I need 2 pieces. Welcome in, Kathy. Welcome back. She said, back for a minute. So as you're looking at it, like let's say piece M, you need 1 piece. And then piece W, you need 4. That is for 1 block. So now I do like that the cutting instructions for the large quilt, when it says, cutting instructions for the large quilt, it does show you the layout of how she laid everything out on a fat quarter. And this is, again, I'm talking about the horse where she's calling for fat quarters. So the 2 fabrics that I've cut, the 1A and 1B and 2A and 2B, that's for 2 different horses. So I'm going to have a 1A and 1B make 1 color of, or 1A makes 1 color of horse. 2A goes with that horse. 1B makes the other color of horse, and 2B goes with that color of horse. So you're making 4 blocks for the large quilt. But you've got everything laid out. And if you lay everything out on top of each other, so your 1A and your 1B that you both have to cut the same number of pieces out of, you can get all of those out of the piece. There's plenty of extra. So I'm ending up with extra fabric. So if I have an oops, I'm not panicked because I have fabric for an oops. The challenge is, you're literally going to have to slow down. A lot of people talk about slow stitching, where you're taking time to quilt something with big stitch quilting, or you're doing hand embroidery, or you're doing you're sewing your binding to the back by hand, and you're putting the label on, or you're doing hand embroidery for a quilt block, whatever you're doing. Slow stitch quilting is kind of like that, but it's for cutting. It is slow quilting cutting, like slow piecing cutting, however you want to phrase it. That's what it feels like it should be in order to do that. Yeah, just hand quilting. I mean, even hand quilting takes a while. And it's not that it's necessarily more difficult to hand quilt one quilt over another, depending, battings and fabrics and all of that being the same. Welcome in, Alicia. Welcome. We are talking about Fab Farm. I'm not working on Fab Farm tonight. I've been working on, this is a UFO that we pulled out last week. The black and the white blocks up here. I've got 3 blocks done of the white. So that's what we've done tonight. That's all we're probably going to do, because I do need to get back to cooking. And I've got to get back to what's behind the Christmas quilt. Let me get you guys off of this machine real quick so you guys can see the Christmas quilt. But when you go to cut for an Elizabeth Hartman, and I did kind of have this issue a little bit when I cut for the Star Systems quilt. So Star Systems, you made 9 different star systems. and each one of them had identical units. So you weren't making all these little bitty finicky pieces. So it is different in that respect. This quilt is definitely going to be a lot of small little pieces. And I'm not saying that the pattern is awful, so don't get me wrong. Please do not read into it. I'm not saying that the pattern for Fab Farm is awful, but what I am saying is that you have, instead of, I guess what I would have done, and this is me, because I want things to be easy for someone to understand, I would have taken and, I don't know, put the cutting for the large quilt in one color, like background, and put cutting for the small quilt in a different color background, so that you knew as you go through the book, okay, I am doing all of the ones that have a yellow background, or this particular color border, or something like that. Or, you know, I'm doing the small quilt, so I'm doing all the teal border pieces, like the teal border sections. So when you get started into the book, you know, okay, let me highlight all the ones that are going to apply to my quilt. And I don't feel like that's happening. Maybe I'm jumping the gun, so don't shoot me if I forgot something. But just in cutting the horse, if you're going to cut the large quilt, take Post-it notes. You guys were harping on me the other day. Welcome in, Becky. She says, hi, everyone. I'm listening as I cook. No worries. I was doing that earlier today. I was cooking. So, you know, take Post-it notes and cover up the small quilt instructions, so you don't accidentally cut less than you need to cut. Or if you're making the small quilt, please, absolutely please, cover up the large quilt instructions, because you don't want to cut so many pieces. You don't want to cut enough to do 4 blocks of each when you only need 1. So I wish that had been a little bit more outlined in the book. Now, granted, it might be better outlined as we get further in. Like, it may become second nature. But it was definitely something. I was sitting there last night, you know, working on cutting pieces and just going, why is this so difficult? Why am I struggling looking at this book, trying to figure out what pieces I need to cut? I should not be struggling, but I was definitely struggling. So we are going to take some time to go over, and we're going to make sure that you know what you're doing when you get to the pieces. So, you know, if you need help with cutting for Fab Farm, if you're going to join in the Fab Farm Block a Month project for 2025, if you have any issues, if you have any questions, please email me. Please send me a message. We will work on it together. Because I don't want anyone to feel left out. It's definitely a beast of a quilt to put together. And it's not that it's hard. It's not that it's a physically hard quilt to put together. It's not going to be. But getting through the cutting is going to be the big challenge. So I do have a Ziploc bag specifically for the horse blocks. And I've got just the fabric for the horse blocks pulled out. I've got my strip sets cut for my background for the horse block. So everything that I need to finish cutting the horse block is in one place. So I don't have to go back and forth with all the other fabrics, and I can leave them off to the side and come back to them as I need to. What else was I going? Oh, I did take some pictures too, you guys. So I did get a couple of pictures of the quilts that I'm going to list up for sale. I've got 2 more quilts to take pictures of, and I can take pictures of those here at home. I don't have to go anywhere to have a big enough floor. So I'm going to take pictures of those quilts tonight. So the quilts that I will have up for sale are going to be listed with shipping included. I am going to list them at well below what they cost. Okay. I'm not devaluing my work by doing this. I want these to go to new homes, and they are not perfect. They are far from perfect. So when I do list them up, I will put a Patreon link in the community tab, and I will put it also on Facebook as well. So if you are in the Facebook group, it will be there. If you're not in the Facebook group yet and you want to be added to the Facebook group, let me go to the link for you guys. You guys are so quiet in the chat. I know why, so I'm not worried. But you guys are so quiet in the chat. Let's make sure Nightbot likes me. Is Nightbot going to cooperate? Ooh, Nightbot is not cooperating. Let's see what's going on. There we go. There we go. Nightbot is running really slow. That could be the problem with the chat too. I don't know if that's what the problem is, but yeah. Okay. So the link is in the live chat. Yes, I can, Chloe. Thank you for asking. She asks if I can put a clickable link for the Amazon wish list, please. Yes, I definitely can. They should be clickable on my YouTube homepage, but that's okay. So when you go to my page and you start to see I see that they're definitely not clickable. Oh my goodness, guys. I'm sorry. Susan says she's not chatting much because she's sewing. No worries. No worries. And I will actually add that to the commands for Nightbot. Let's do a new command. And we're going to do wish list as the command. And there we go. All right, so exclamation wish list should work as well. Okay, so that is going to be for the Amazon wish list. I do have a couple of other lists as well. Let's see, Math Geek says, I finished my first throw size quilts on my long arm today, so I'm busy tying off that. That makes sense. I agree, Chloe. She says, glad to hear you are sewing, Susan. Yes, I'm loving the sound of that. I've been giddy inside all day for hearing that. Okay. So the other things on my wish list, in case you guys are wondering, and what the whole deal is, I was asked whether or not I have a wish list of things that I would like to receive. Okay. That is incredibly hard for me to do. I am not the type to go, hey, I want this or I want that. I'm the type of person that I buy something when I need it, or I buy something because I've saved up for it, or, something like that. Or I've sold something so I have money to buy, something else. That kind of thing. So it's really hard for me to say, okay, these are, things I want you to buy for me, because that's not who I am normally. My husband says that I'm hard to buy for, because I am really hard to buy for, because I really don't need a whole lot. I make do with what I have for the most part. Susan says that she loves her Juki once she finally wound a bobbin and after watching a video threading. Yeah. Oh, believe me, I understand that. I would have to watch videos. So the 4 links that you'll see on my about page, for the wish list items, one is the fast turn tube turners. They are going towards making a specific project for 2025. So as soon as they are purchased, or I know that they're purchased, it's coming off because I only need one set. And that is kind of on my wish list because it's something that I know I'm going to be using. Susan says that she can't seem to stay away from her Juki now. That's perfect. That's the perfect problem to have. And then there's 2 different AccuQuilt studio dies that would be useful in my studio. Not that I plan to purchase them anytime soon, just because they're not cheap. But they are on the wish list, so they're there. It's 2.5 inch squares and 5 inch squares. And they're studio dies, so I can cut multiple more layers than just with a Go die. And then the rest is all Amazon. So in case you guys are wondering, that's why the things that are on my Amazon wish list are on there. Right, Shelly? She says, glad to hear you're using a Susan. Right? I love that. I love that plan. That's a good problem to have. And my chat disconnected again, guys. So I don't know what is up with YouTube tonight. I don't know if it's my channel. I don't know if it's everybody's channel. I don't know. Thank you, Chloe. She says, good choices for dies. Yeah, with the double wedding ring, there's a 2.5 inch cut on that one. And then with my value die, there's a 2.5 inch cut with that one. Both of those, the Go dies, you can only cut maybe 8 layers at a time. And that is pushing that die. That is pushing it to the limit. 6 is a more reasonable number of pieces to cut. With the studio dies, I have cut regularly, I can cut about 16 layers. Between 14 and 16 layers. So that cuts through a lot more fabric, a lot faster, and it is less strain on the die, less strain on the machine, less strain on me. So that's why I put those on there. Because those are 2 sizes that I regularly need to be cutting my scraps into. Aside from the 1 inch, which I have the 1 inch die. So it's not on the list for obvious reasons. On my Amazon list, it's a lot of, it's thread, needles. Gosh, what else did I think I put magic pins on there. Because I'm just starting to swap everything over to magic pins. Let me see. I mean, I don't even remember what all I put on here, guys. Let me see. I did put some rulers on there, some Creative Grids rulers, some more bobbins for the machine, some fusible batting tape. There's a couple of books on there, and there's rotary cutting blades. I mean, I am a simple quilter. I don't... I'm not the fancy... I have fancy dreams, but I don't fancy budget. I don't fancy budget anything. I really don't. But I do always accept fabric as well. So if you guys ever have fabric scraps you need to send off, like you're done using, and you can cut a 1 inch square out of it, I always take that as well. So if you're looking for something, if that's something that is on your heart, you want to do, that's what I put to use. Now, I have some fabulous, I have a fabulous layer cake I still need to get into, because I've been thinking about how I want to use it, and I think I might have an idea, but it's going to wait until January, but I think I have an idea for that layer cake. I'm so excited. Let's see, what else do we have going on? Okay, so Thursday is Land That I Love. Kathy from My Hobby Home will be over here hanging out for Land That I Love. We're going to start that at 6. Chloe says, fabric is the best. It is always acceptable. Okay, so I am part of a secret Sew Santa swap. I have no idea who has me. And the person who I have has no idea that I have them. But every month we send each other fabric and sewing supplies or whatever. Guys, my secret Sew Santa knocked it out of the park. It is Christmas trees and puppy dogs. Specifically yellow labs. And, well, there's yellow and white labs and
it looks actually like there's red labs on here. And then there's black labs as well. It's the same image repeated, but that's okay. But it's Christmas trees and Labradors, which I have a lab, which I don't know if my Secret So Santa knows that part, but she knows I like dogs. I got black that has red and green paw prints and white snowflakes. Chloe says she'll most likely be visiting with family on Thanksgiving. Awesome. Yeah, enjoy family. Enjoy family. If you want to catch up on replay, that is perfectly fine. But do not ever put your family on second fiddle to come hang out with me, okay? My YouTube video will always be here after the fact, okay? I do not want you to feel like you have to do this one. All right, this one is called Yappy Christmas Dog Scatter. This has some very yappy dogs. It's got a dachshund. Looks like a beagle, maybe. Some other fluffy dogs. Maybe a pug. They all have Christmas hats, and they are all sitting with some kind of present, mostly. But yeah, I've got gray with Christmas dogs as well. And then I have black. Oh my gosh, I love this fabric. And it's only a fat quarter, which I'm so sad because I would totally take more of this. It is black with multicolored snowflakes. So we've got blue and yellow and orange and pink and all of the different colors of snowflakes. So, you know, fabric is always a win, even though I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. Fabric is always a win. And I always celebrate fabric. I do love fabric. I love fabric. Fabric always gives me memories. And that's something to take into Thanksgiving and Christmas. When you're sitting around the Thanksgiving table and people are asking you what to buy you for Christmas, if you don't have a wish list, if you don't really want a whole lot of things. There was one Christmas before Tom and I got married. It was with one of my ex-husband, and the kids really wanted to buy me stuff for Christmas, but they really didn't know what to buy because I already have basically anything and everything, and I make do what I don't have. So like I don't need necessarily anything. But they were asking me what to buy me for Christmas. I said, okay, why don't you go to, take the kids to Joann's or to Hobby Lobby or wherever, take them and let them pick out fat quarters. Just take them around the fat quarter racks. And this is back when Joann's had a lot more fabric in their stores. But I said, just take them around. Let them buy me fat quarters from Joann's. Like I didn't know about quilting stores or any of that at the time. So it wasn't go to this quilting store and ask for my list. It was, go buy me fat quarters. Guys, the fabrics that the kids got me for Christmas, every time I would touch some of them, like I still have some of them. I haven't used some of them. And it's not because they're bad fabrics. It's because they have memories in them. So if somebody is looking for something to get you for Christmas, tell them where you like your fabric from, or tell them this is the kind of cut of fabric I want. So go to this store or go to this store. Tell them you want quilting cotton, and tell them how much fabric you want to buy. Like you want to buy a fat quarter, and if they don't cut fat quarters, buy a quarter of a yard. If there's not a prepackaged fat quarter of it, or buy a half yard or buy a yard. Tell them go buy me 1 yard of fabric, and that will be plenty. And a yard of fabric sometimes can be at a quilt store is $14. So you're getting, about what the value of what you're getting is, and it still gives you that memory that forms, but it also gives you something that you can use. And it's not something that you have to use specifically, for one particular thing or another. And Shelby says, I like the idea of having them pick out a fabric for you. Yeah. So the lady that sent me these, she also sent me Halloween versions. Like the first, like, so this was September. Yeah, September she sent me Halloween versions. And she sent me celestial, like, globe things or whatever for, you know, for Halloween. She sent me that in September. And then I don't remember. I have to go back and see exactly what she sent me for October. But then, you know, Christmas stuff for November. So I have no idea what I'm getting in at Christmas from her. But, you know, every time she has sent me anything, it has been fabric, which is fantastic. Oh, she sent me thread last month. She sent me 3 spools of purple thread in with what she sent me. And it was a fat quarter bundle, I think, maybe. Don't quote me on that. But she sent me purple thread, which is fantastic. I love, you know, purple. So it's perfect. So I know I'm saying so very much. But something like that is a really good Christmas wish list item. And, you know, if Joann's fabric is fine with you, tell them to go to Joann's. If Hobby Lobby fabric is fine with you, tell them to go to Hobby Lobby. Tell them to, you know, wait for the sale. Wait for it to say 40% off all fabric. You know, save your gift person some money. And then get, you know, something that they picked out for you. That they picked out for you, thinking about you. Because, you know, sometimes I go into the store and I go to pick out a fabric, and then if there's a line, I could be waiting another good 20 minutes while the one person who's working the fabric counter is cutting someone else's fabric because they have a buggy full or a cart full, however you want to say it, whatever, if you use buggy or if you use cart, whatever part of the country you're from, whatever part of the world you're from. But you're sitting there waiting, or standing there waiting, and instead of you doing that, somebody thought of you enough to go stand in that line and wait for their fabric to be cut. And even if they tell you, well, oh no, I didn't have to wait, ignore that part, okay? They saved you from having to do it. So that's always a fantastic thing. So even, you know, I love fabric. I still need to put this on the bolt pieces to put on my shelves. But I promise we didn't come here to talk about my wish list. I promise that. I am going to take that Christmas quilt down, so it is not going to stay up. That was a Bernina and OESD project one year, I think for 2013. The binding on it is absolutely horrendous, and some of the fabric has done some funky stuff. Susan says that she sewed 16 9-patch blocks today. Wow! Exciting. I like that. You know what? I'm going to show you guys. Let me see if I can set this up so you guys can see. Let me get this on the section that you guys need to see. Okay. Let's see. Let me lower it down so it's not angled. There's a part of this quilt. I'm going to see if I can wash this quilt. Do the whole bathtub washing and see if I can fix this. And you guys tell me if you've ever seen this, if you think I can save it. Because if I can save it, I would love to save this quilt. Because I did have a lot of fun putting this together. And I can tell you polyester batting in the storage, because my husband put this in the totes and put it in the garage. Polyester batting in storage does not fare very well. Alright, so the red fabric that you're seeing has little gold pieces on it. So it's gold polka dots. Let's see if I can get the angle better so you guys can see the gold. So it has gold polka dots on it. But if you guys can see, the gold has done something. I don't know what it has done, but it's done something. And I don't know I don't know if washing it will fix it. I don't know if it'll make it worse. And I don't know what is wrong with this quilt, but it is not aged very well. It is not aged well. And again, I think it is because it's been stored outside instead of being stored temperature controlled and all of that. I had fun putting it together. So the center block with the tree, that is all one embroidery block. So that took 4 hoopings. I think I could add more quilting and it would help the quilt. I think it would help it. But all of the gold panel pieces are embroidery blocks. That's possibly what it's done, Shelby. She says, how weird. It looks like it's oxidized. It's possible. It's very, very possible. Susan, you're getting melted. That's likely too. I really did not know what I was doing when I was binding this quilt, guys. I really did not know. This is another one from my early quilting time. It definitely is. I don't know. I don't know. So that you guys know, the pink and purple quilt that I showed you that I'm going to list is going to go up for $50, and that includes shipping. The green and white one is going to go up also for $50, including shipping. The orange and blue is going to go up for $50, including shipping. And the bobble one is probably also going to go up for $50. So basically it comes out to being $25 a quilt. That is because I need to get them gone. It is not because I don't know. You guys can tell me. You guys can tell me. I'm not devaluing them. I've had them long enough. They are ready to go to new homes. But yeah, I don't know if I can save it. If it is oxidized, Shelby, do you think it can be saved? Do you think that's... I don't know. I don't know what else to do. I really don't. It's, it is... You see the gold polka dot. The gold polka dots are still there. And the backing fabric is black. Ooh, that could be part of it too. The fact that the backing is black. Oh my gosh, I did not even catch my backing in that. I used some cheap fabric for the backing. I used some really cheap fabric for the backing, guys. Maybe it's just the black coming through the back, through the batting. And it is polyester batting. That's how long ago this was. It's back when I used polyester batting. Oh. I do love this quilt. I'm going to move the camera just a little bit, you guys. So please don't get sick when I move the camera. We're going to move the camera back. So that's one of the embroidery blocks. I know it's at an angle, I'm sorry. I can't fix the angle. With poly batting and an inexpensive backing, color may have come through. Yeah, that's most likely what happened. So I'm going to try washing it. I'm going to try washing it with clear dish soap in the bathtub. And we'll see. We'll see if I can save the quilts of Christmas past. That's what we're going to call this. Quilt of Christmas past. It's the one that held up the least well. I do have another one that's held up better than this that was made the year before this one. This one just did not... I did not understand a lot when I was putting this together. So this one might be one that I end up redoing later. because it was a fun embroidery to do. It really was. So, all right. Well, I'm going to get off of here, you guys. It is 7 o'clock here. I have cornbread dressing to go make, and I need it to be finished before 10 o'clock tonight. Last resort, I could save the embroidery blocks. You know, I might. That would be a good solution, too. Is just save the embroidery blocks, because I do not think I did stipple quilting in the black and white sections. That's the only quilting I did, aside from a blanket stitch around in the outside border, or a zigzag stitch in the outside border. So I did not do any quilting in the embroidery blocks, and I did not do any quilting in the red. So yeah, I probably could save it, one way or the other. It'll go on my list. It'll go on my list of all the quilts I get to take apart, because I'm already taking one apart to fix. So, all right. Well, I'm going to get off of here, you guys. I will see you Thanksgiving Day. If you want to come and join, you're more than welcome to come join. Kathy from My Hobby Home will be here. Before that, I will be over on Katie's channel over at Greenland Quilter. I don't know how long I will be over on her channel. I don't know how long I'm going to have time to be over there before I come over here. But we're going to see. Should be an easiest to deconstruct. Kind of in front of the TV. The problem that I'm having right now is I'm not able to use full function of my hand. So holding it and ripping is the challenge. Is the holding it I can't do right now. So we're going to see how easy it is to deconstruct. But yeah, so I'll be over on Katie's channel over at Greenland Quilter for a bit. Thursday during the day sometime. And I will be here Thursday night starting at 6. With Kathy from My Hobby Home here. We'll be working on Land That I Love, getting some more patriotic time in. And if I do not see you on Thanksgiving Day, I will not panic. But please, whatever you do, have a happy and safe holiday if you are celebrating Thanksgiving this week. Enjoy the time with family, with friends. Be present. The best present you can give to anyone is to be present with those that you love and spend that time with them. Don't be on your phone. Don't be doing all this other stuff. Just spend time with them and enjoy that face-to-face time. Now that we're, not in COVID all the time now, it's kind of easier to get that face-to-face time, but it's very, very important. Let's not ever get back to COVID times, okay, you guys? All right, well, thank you for being here. Happy Tuesday to you all. Happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate. I will see you Thursday if not, or if I can. If not, I will see you guys Sunday night. Talk to you